fitness no-show.
I waited for her a week.
Starts a boot camp backlash.
I just can't babysit and hold the spot for people, so I have to give availability to people that show up.
All rise for Judge Joe Brown.
Whoa, you...
Experience, knowledge, and a passion for the truth.
Protecting womanhood and promoting manhood.
Bringing no-nonsense justice to Americans everywhere.
If you listen, you might learn something.
It's time for Judge Joe.
A woman's attempt to get a workout on with her mom ends with a trainer giving her the boot. Traffic officer Yolanda English is suing a former personal trainer for a refund on boot camp memberships. Defendant Irma Sandoval said the classes were non-transferable. Now it's Joe time.
You've alleged that Ms. Sandoval should be required to refund to you the cost of some unused boot camp classes.
Yes, Judge Joe Brown.
There are 2 memberships involved. You also say the defendant refused to let your mother use one of them. Now, Ms. Sandoval, you counter by alleging that by contract you owe her nothing because the classes were non-refundable. The plaintiff and her boyfriend failed to attend as required. Her sessions have expired and you offered him some relief, which the plaintiff did not take.
That's correct, Judge Joe Brown.
All right. Now, you first, please, ma'am.
Yes, I went to her a couple years ago and I had a positive experience. However, this time around, she called me over the phone and she said that she had a special going. So me and my boyfriend enrolled. It was for $300 for 6 months. So when we got there, I paid over the internet with my credit card. So when we got there, the only thing that I was given was a liability form.
That's all you usually get.
And so what happened was we filled out the liability form and I started going twice a week. However, my boyfriend went about 3 times and his mother got really ill and he wasn't able to go anymore. So he called her. We never talked to her. Then as the months went on, I asked her, is it all right if my mother uses membership? And she said, sure, tell her to come on in. Well, at that time, I was starting to go at 7 o'clock, so I was going to have her come at 7.
So you could go to work.
Yes. And when I went to talk to her about my mother, then that's when she was like telling me, you have to come 3 times a week, else I'm going to cancel your membership. And I was like, where is that at? She was like, here's the contract. I said, yes, this is the contract, but I never signed it because I never received it until now.
The month of October comes in. It seems you really didn't start showing up for class, you or your boyfriend, until October. Is that right?
Excuse me, Judge Joe Brown. No, I didn't start until October. I bought the boot camp.
Yes, you bought it in June.
But she said I have 6 months that I can start, and when I start, I have 6 months from then.
All right. Now, you say she tried to get you to sign a contract dated from October.
Yes, she tried to get me to sign one when I went to talk to her in January.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Because it was a contract stating that I agreed to these terms in October, and I didn't know anything about these terms until January.
Well, what is it that you find onerous in the proposed terms?
Well, first of all, that I promised to not tell anyone how much I paid. And
yes, that's standard because you as a prior patron of the service are getting a special deal, and a lot of people may have paid 2 or 3 times what you paid for what you were able to get had you chosen to get it.
And she,
but now, do you understand what she was attempting to do by having you sign the contract as of October?
No, because this is what came up when I asked for. She told me she would.
Look, you get an agreement with her in June. It's 6 months. In October, you've missed out on the first 4 months. So your contract originally, written or otherwise, is up in December. So you only get 2 months. She was trying to be nice by having you sign one dated October so you'd get November, December, January, February, March, and April, so you'd get a full 6 months, when technically she didn't have to do anything but just let it stay as it was, and you come for 2 months and that's all you get.
No, sir, Judge Brown. When she told me that I can start the boot camp anywhere from June to December, and after I start, I have 6 months after that. She said that to me before I even paid for it.
Well, that's still in compliance with what she said. You come in October to start using it. You could have used it at June. So she's giving you your 6 months. It's just that you started in October.
Yes, and I started in October, and I mean I had to April. So
Yes, exactly. So why did you find that objectionable?
Because in January she gave me this contract that was dated from October. I never
That's
seen the...
right, because you'd been going from October, November, December, here's January. So you were entitled to go to April. So she's giving you this one, so I guess it might have been for a tax record.
Well, I didn't want to sign it because she's telling me I have to come 3 times a week, else she's going to cancel my
Well, it's not going to do you much good if you don't.
I wouldn't have a problem if she would have gave me this contract in October before I paid for it, so I can make the decision.
Okay. But now, here's the other thing. What about this complaint that she wouldn't let your mother substitute for your brother?
She said my mother can come, and I told her my mother wasn't feeling good. When she gets better, I'll give you a call. And then when I called her, she said, well, I can't do it right now. I'm too full. I have too many people who joined from the Groupon, so she's going to have to wait. And I was like, well, it's only 3 more months. And she was like, well, if she comes, I was starting to come at 7. I was going to bring her with me because it wasn't no set time that they said that we had to come to boot camp. We had 4 times a day that we can come.
All right, let's go to the defendant.
Thank you so much, Judge Joe Brown. I met Yolanda in August. I was working at the Los Angeles School of Gymnastics. I had 2 classes at 5 a.m. and at 8 a.m. She came in through a fresh guide, purchased 30 days as a try to make sure she enjoyed it. She liked the facility. And then I didn't see her when I moved to a new location in Culver City in June. So I sent an email, said, hey, for those who are really excited and eager, I'm offering buy 1 month and get 5 months for free. Whoever is interested, she replied to the email, and she purchased her 6 months for the price of 1. When I saw her again in June, she purchased the 2 6-month programs with her and her boyfriend. And then they came in from October till about the end of December, and she called...
Excuse me, he didn't come, he only came twice, or 3 times.
I'm not sure how many times. He came in a few times, but then I got a call saying that his mother died. And that's, of course, awful. No one was using the membership since that June. And so she called a few times to see if her mom could replace the membership. So when she came in, I was like, you know what, typically I don't do that, but I will bend over backwards so she could come to work out. Her mom could work out. Someone died. I'll do anything to have them work out.
We'll be right back with Judge Joe Brown.
I have to give availability to people that show up. So I expressed that to her. And then, of course, unbeknownst to me, since I deal with so many clients, I looked at her dates, and the dates were expired. This is January. I'm like, and your membership is
No,
out
my dates was not expired, sir.
Hold on. Stop.
And later today...
I got all the information. I said, well, the guy's dead. Why don't you just, do a lost title, a power of attorney, forge the guy's name on there, he's dead. And that's what I suggested that they do.
For your edification, that would amount to several felonies.
It's Joe time after this.
We're back with Judge Joe Brown. The defendant in this case says a client bought some training sessions she was using with her boyfriend. She says the plaintiff kept trying to change the terms of their deal, then demanded a refund. Let's get back to the case.
Now, you offered her mother the opportunity to come at 5. Did she come?
So basically, when we try to have a conversation sometime in December, she wanted to speak with me at the beginning of January. We had a really successful Groupon. We sold about 2,000 Groupons. It was very successful. And she wanted to speak with me on like January 3rd, 4th, the beginning of the year, and there's a line waiting. I mean, it was good for business, but she wanted to speak at 6:30 p.m. I told her, hey, let's make an appointment, let's sit down. Obviously, I knew there was a little tension, so I figured I will refund her money, I'll just make an appointment. Let's just, solve the issue, just in case there's any issues. So we made an appointment at the end of January, and I sat her down. I said, hey, I'm not going to be able to replace your mom's membership with DeMarco because, we don't typically do that. I try to help her out. I waited for her a week. I just can't babysit and hold a spot for people. When I'm here every day, I wake up at 3:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday. And I wasn't able to put her, because people that really wanted to get in shape, people that are determined to wake up, wanted that spot. So I have to give availability to people that show up. So I expressed that to her. And then, of course, unbeknownst to me, since I deal with so many clients, I looked at her dates, and the dates were expired. This is January. I'm like, and your membership is out.
No, my dates was not expired, sir.
Hold on. Stop. Your mother was offered the opportunity to take your boyfriend's contract over, and She didn't want to get there that early. Now, you're not entitled to any refund. And this whole thing about signing the agreement 3 times a week, you can't be forced to come. But you need a little incentive, because 2 times a week is not going to really do that much for you. And it's like anything else. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. Now,
This courtroom is now in recess.
The boot camp special did not include special treatment when it comes to the contract. The defendant was flexible, but enough. Claim is denied, and we're on to the next case.
Please raise your right hand.
Plaintiffs Alyssa Jones and Christopher Corona are suing a seller for a refund in car expenses. Defendant Rick Welch says he sold the SUV as is.
Ms. Jones and Mr. Corona, you're suing Mr. Welch. It would appear that you were attempting to purchase a truck from Mr. Welch. However, there are some problems, and it seems you want the sale rescinded.
Yes, sir.
Now, you, sir, say that you don't owe anything because you sold the truck as is. Is that right? And also some other things you did to supposedly help the plaintiffs.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, Mr. Corona, it seems from your joint complaint that July year last you found an ad that Mr. Welch had placed on Craigslist to sell a 93 Jeep Cherokee for $900.
Yeah, we...
Is it correct that you two took a bus ride from Huntington Beach to El Cajon to test drive the truck?
Yes, sir, we made a firm
Provided a bill of sale or a copy thereof that you signed, and you tendered to his wife $900 in cash. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you allege you were advised the title would be provided in 4 days. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you get the title in 4 days?
No, we didn't, sir.
Go from that point.
We made several other trips out there to try and get the title. Each time it was just another excuse after another, saying that he didn't have the title or he was getting it. And then finally he said he'll just mail it to us because we've already made several trips out there. I had to drive the car eventually for work, but the day that I did, I got a ticket.
Yeah, you got a ticket from one of the meter maids for not having valid registration.
Yes, sir.
That's your fault.
Yes.
Did the episode prompt you to seek some help, additional help from the defendant?
Yes. We later that day texted him and said, hey, we need the title in order to get it registered and into our name and stuff. Then the next day after that, we got it smogged, waited for him. He just said that he already sent it to us pretty much, and that we obviously did something with the...
Where is the vehicle now?
Well, it's sitting at our house.
You can't drive it without registration.
Yes, sir.
And it would appear from the balance of what you're alleging that you have not been able to get this vehicle titled because you can't get a copy of a title. Now, let's go to the defendant.
Okay, Your Honor. The vehicle in question was a vehicle that was owned by a girlfriend's friend, and the person whose name the truck was titled in had died. So we towed the car home. I did just a simple wash.
Might I ask you how a dead man is going to transfer a title to somebody? What is this, Tales from the Crypt?
We'll be back with more Judge Joe Brown in a moment.
What was my suggestion if they needed it that fast? I was doing everything I could on my
So
side.
that's the advisement you'd give young people, 20 years old each. Hey, why don't you just do this? It's only 3 felonies.
It's Joe time after this. Next, Judge Joe.
We're back with Judge Joe Brown. The plaintiffs in this case say they took a bus ride to check out a Jeep they decided to buy. They say they waited and waited for a title that never came. Let's get back to the case.
Well, now, what would entitle you to have that title signed over to you?
It was never going to be titled in my name.
Well,
I never
what
intended
were you
for it.
doing, acting as agent for somebody?
No. the title was signed over to the girlfriend's sister's husband before the guy died. Before he died, it was signed over to the kid. But it was with a bunch of paperwork from when he died, like a probate thing or something. They said they'd gotten all that.
Was there an order from a probate court?
No, sir. I just think all the paperwork was together at the time from the way I understand it.
You thought. Now,
Well,
what is this about your advisement to them as to what they could do to get a remedy? Explain that to me.
Well, I got all the information from Jackie, which is who I got the car from, and I said, well, because I was really on Jackie's case, because I even wrote on my bill of sale here that I'd have a title for him in 4 days, because that's what I was under the impression. So I got all the information. I said, well, the guy's dead. Why don't you just, you know, do a lost title, a power of attorney, forge the guy's name on there. He's dead. It's not going to come back. And that's what I suggested that they do.
For your edification, that would amount to several felonies. One, it's fraud. Two, it's forgery, perjury.
That's what was my suggestion if they needed it that fast. I was doing everything I could on my side.
So that's the advisement you'd give young people, 20 years old each. Hey, why don't you just do this? It's only 3 felonies. They'd carry penitentiary time and would render you for the rest of your life, basically, infamous. They're crimes of moral turpitude, dishonesty, fundamental dishonesty, and you had no property interest in the thing, therefore you had nothing to sell. And it's not a case of as is, because that only goes to the mechanical or physical condition of something that you have the property rights to.
Judge Joe Brown makes his ruling after this.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse, sir. You're in your 50s, and I would have thought you would have been aware of the need to have title to something before you can try to sell any interest in it. So I'm going to compensate you to $3,000. That's $1,900 and $1,100 for additional and consequential cost. And you can and must return that vehicle to the defendant, because there is nothing he has to sell you. Okay. So you let him worry about what happens to that. It sounds like what really went on is somebody died and the vultures gathered, and the one that did least for the deceased says, oh, there is a vehicle. I'm going to take it, and maybe I can give it away or sell it. There you go. And you might even have a vehicle that has some very questionable background. So that's your award.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This courtroom is now in recess.
When the owner died, so did the plaintiff's hope of obtaining title. Well, unless they committed 3 felonies, this deal is dead. Plaintiffs win. We'll be right back.
Next, Judge Joe.
You got on the wrong side of the roadway.
No,
That's what it looks like.
that's incorrect.
Straight up and down, head-on collision, and you don't even remember.
Next, Judge Joe.
We're back. The registered owner passed on. The defendant just passed on the drama and then suggested criminal activity as an option. The plaintiffs made the right choice coming here. They recover $3 grand. To submit your case, visit us on Facebook or judgejoebrown.com.